In this video we're going to explore overlaps in intelligent framing in ZebraCut. I have here a job that I wish to cut. You can see it's got multiple parts and these parts are longer than my machine, which is this orange rectangle. If I preview that in ZebraCut, you can see I get 7 different frames and parts are split between the different frames. So this rectangle here is cut both on frame 1 and on frame 2. Now when you are framing, either manually or on a conveyorized machine, it is possible for the material to become distorted, particularly if you're framing manually. That can cause the two halves of the shape to not connect or to misalign. So to alleviate this, what we do is we introduce an overlap between the two halves of this rectangle. So essentially we cut slightly further on frame 1 and slightly further on frame 2 and try to make sure this overlaps. Let me demonstrate this by introducing a very large overlap, and I'll also show you how to configure this. So all framing options are configured under Job Config, and then you'll find a framing configuration, and we're just going to concentrate on these first 3 options around overlap. So the standard method of overlap is just the join type for overlap, and we are going to configure that using the X direction overlap size. So if I put in 50 millimeters, it's a very large overlap, much more than we'd normally recommend, but let me show you this here. So you'll see now if I zoom in, we've got our first frame in frame 1, and you can see that overlaps quite a lot with the blue of frame 2. So again, these two lines overlap. So there we go. We can control the length of that overlap in the X direction using this parameter here. This also works on lines that are not in the X direction. You can see here we've actually truncated the shape here on frame 1 and here on frame 2. So you can see there's actually quite a lot of overlap in this space between these two frames. So this controls the length of the overlap. There is also a different mechanism for overlap, which you can use arcs, and this helps to address any misalignment in the material as well if you require this. Arcs need to be specified in both the X and the Y direction, so I'm going to enter quite large arcs to show you what's happening, and then I'm going to run that. And you will see now that I have these arcs, so these kind of hooks, and this helps to break any threads that might be uncut or misaligned between the two frames. So in this case, the first frame, the green frame, will go through here and the machine will finish cutting at the end of that arc, and on the second frame we will start here and we will overlap in the center and then continue cutting in that direction. So there we go, we have two different methods of joining our frames, using overlaps or using arcs. If we are using overlap, we would control that through the X direction to give us the amount of overlap, and if we're using arcs, we'll specify that in both directions in order to control the size and the radius of these arcs. Hopefully that will allow you to get the right mechanism for overlap so that you get the best possible cut for your jobs. Thank you very much.